What's up, guys? This is Ben with Underrated Garage, aka Car Builder on Instagram. I'm bringing you a video today of ranking all my previous builds, not including the 5 vehicles I own right now. There was 15. Those 15 are just cars that I actually registered, insured, and built for me to drive. Not cars I planned to just resell or cars that I parted out, which there were a lot of those too. I'm probably going to skip through the first few pretty quick because the bottom 5 aren't too cool, but the top 10 are some pretty special things, so let's get into it. Starting off in 15th, aka last place, a little 2000 Honda Civic I had. Just a couple cheap little ricer parts on it, nothing much to it. It was automatic, slow as all hell, but hey, you gotta start somewhere with builds, right? In 14th, we have a little black Accord coupe that I bought, and then I got it painted white, slapped some headlights on it, did a couple things. Had a K-Series, but it was like the basic model. It had no horsepower, and I enjoyed the leather interior and the heated seats in the winter, I'll give it that. Next up in these lower ranks is actually my first ever car when I just turned 16. I got a low mileage 2nd gen Eclipse base model. Kind of learned how to do some aesthetic mods, painted all the trim, tinted the lights, little cleanup stuff on it. I got bored of that basic non-turbo quick. Next up in 12th, we have my little Teggy. I can't complain about the deal I got. This thing was dirt cheap. I ended up spray painting it in my garage. It didn't come out too good, but it looks kind of cool in pictures. I had fun with this thing, doing little mods. I put hood pins and eBay exhaust. Kind of started getting into modifications. It was a good time. This was another Accord. I did have a few of these. I put some rep wheels on it, some black housing headlights, high schooler stuff, as you would expect. It was my first car. I put a sound system in. I did a little subwoofers. Look at that wiring. That's so funny now that I look at it. Did an intake on it. It was a fun little beater while I had it. Now, starting off the top 10, the little CRV that could. You may think this should be in last, but I lifted this thing. I did a few things to it, and I put a ton of miles on it. This was a good truck. It was fun, and it was a beast. I sunk this thing in the mud, and it started up the next day. I drifted it around in the snow and beat the shit out of it. These things are actually good trucks and good little dailies. Next up is this 02 RSX that I had. It was okay until I got into an accident with it, but then the comeback was strong. I did a whole 06 body conversion. I got it painted vivid blue pearl. Got some shiny new wheels for it. Still reps. My taste hadn't grown too much yet, but hey, it was clean. It was an OEM Plus little cherry gem. I brought it to some car shows and enjoyed it for a while, actually. It was super reliable. Got to drive it around a lot. And overall a good experience until I sold it and made some money on it. Then we've got my second Teggy build. I know there's been a lot of Honda stuff. I promise there's some others in the top 5, but it was kind of a ground up little budget Honda build. Turned it from that silver hunk of junk. I put some suspension, engine parts, did body work to it, Type bar, wing and lip. Then I got it painted black, and honestly, I think it came out pretty sick. I enjoyed driving this thing around. It looked badass, made a lot of noise, and I had a fun time in it. In 7th place, another Accord. Looked shitty like this when I got it. It turned into this. May not look too special, but the reason this one's the best by far is it had the V6 engine with the 6-speed transmission. That Honda J-Series was very fun. Banging gears in that car, man, it was a beast, honestly. Great street car. Enjoyed it a lot. Super clean and OEM Plus. It was a very classy build for the time. If you knew me back in 2019, then you knew this car well. This was my facelift RSX that I ended up doing the kit on and getting painted Milano red. Everyone loved this car for some reason. All my friends and followers were like really into this car. They were really mad because they knew I was going to end up selling it, but it was pretty sweet. I drove to a ton of car shows, car meets with it, and just showed it off a lot. It was pretty sick, but I sold it like everything else. Now, starting off the top 5 is a car really near and dear to my heart, my 350Z Roadster. This was my first rear-wheel drive manual true sports car, which changed my life for good. I fell completely in love with this type of car. Only had 80,000 miles. It was clean, it was reliable, ran great, and it was the most fun I had ever had driving in my life. Now, back on a Honda note, I had this complete junk EK hatch, which I had my biggest transformation ever on. I pulled the engine, I painted the bay, I set up a transmission and engine from Japan for it, had a B16 trans with a high compression B20 engine. I swapped it, ton of aftermarket parts, ECU, all the goodies. Body work on this car, and then I got it painted Honda Phoenix yellow, and I did the Type R kit on it. This thing was a beauty. I put the RPF 1s on, so it was just a full Type R clone, clean as can be. This is still like my aesthetic taste to this day. I love the way this car looked. It was sick, got a ton of attention. It was pretty damn fun too. Now the final Honda, my RSX Type S that I got kind of riced out, put it back to stock-ish, and then started modifying it to be a race car. The only reason this beats out the EK hatch is because this had that K20Z1 screaming to 8,000 RPMs. It was a fun car. Of course, I put RPF 1s on it. I went for kind of like a track race car look with the thing. I did actually do a lot of performance mods on it. Engine, transmission, suspension, everything was modified, and it looked pretty sick. It was fun to drive on the street. Pretty reliable car. But then I did end up taking it to the track, and I was very unhappy with the track performance. I know they can be great track cars, but it just wasn't the feel I wanted. It wasn't what I really wanted at all. So I was like, okay, I need to go back to a rear-wheel drive track car. So I sold this thing, but it was a good daily while I had it. Now going way back in time to my Eclipse GSX. This is my second place pick. I was only 17 when I bought this. It was all-wheel drive, turbo, Evo motor. I really just wanted to be a badass with this thing, but I learned quickly that unreliable cars can be very problematic. It was a complete money pit, but look how beautiful I made it. I got it painted white, put NKs on it. It made cool turbo sounds. It's definitely one of the cooler things I've owned, but man, it was just sucking all my money. It was a beauty though, and it taught me a lot. Now in first place, a lot of you probably knew it. It's my 2008 HR 6-speed 350Z coupe. I loved this car a lot. It was blue when I got it. It already had some cool stuff going on, but I really wanted to make it my own. So I tore it all apart. I stripped it down, restored everything that I could, got some custom parts, pieced together my own little setup on it, and then boom, Honda Phoenix Yellow 350Z RPF 1s, just like my old EK hatch. Duckbill, Arrow kit. I tracked this car. I did car shows all season with this car. I had the most fun I've ever had in a vehicle before. I really loved this thing, as you all probably know. And yeah, I mean, this thing definitely changed my life. This is the one that got away. I do miss it to this day, but I'm happy I have my 370Z now. Thank you guys for watching this video. If any of you actually watched this to the end, I appreciate that a lot. I know I spent some time rambling about my cars, but it's something I've been thinking about doing for a bit, comparing all my old builds to one another. If you did enjoy it, let me know. Definitely drop a comment with what your favorites are. And on that note, stay tuned for more content from this channel. I'm really trying to turn it into something. Let me know if there's anything specific you'd be interested in seeing. If you're not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Like, comment on this video. It really means a lot to me to see that interaction. See you guys later.